Revered Swami Atmashraddhananda Ji Maharaj and all other revered monastics who are present here, I convey my pranams to all of you. And respected Om Prakash Verma Ji, Sunita Singh Sengupta Ji, Vinayak Lohani Ji, Sharad Vivek Sagar Ji, and all other dignitaries present here, brothers and sisters. The topic of my talk is the idea of universal religion propounded by Swami Vivekananda in his paper on Hinduism, which he delivered, as you heard from my previous speakers, on the 19th of September, 1893. Though my previous speaker, Shri Om Prakash Verma Ji, quoted or rather translated the content of that part, which I am going to refer to in Hindi. And he suggested that Swami Vivekananda was speaking about Hindu religion. Swamiji might have alluded to or might have referred to the Hindu religion, but he was expressly speaking about a universal religion. And as we all know, religion has been the cause of much bloodshed and much suffering throughout human history. But religion has also been the cause of much peace and solace, lot of comfort. And since most of you who are sitting here in this hall are the youth of India, if you carefully think about it, we have now become highly pessimistic about religion. We have started believing that religion is something which we should not associate ourselves with. Religion is something which we should not bother about. And by doing so, we are depriving ourselves of a treasure of wisdom which can give us comfort, which can give us peace in times of our mental and physical suffering. So it is not a wonder that when people are trying to dissociate, trying to distance themselves from religion, we also see an increase of psychological illnesses in society. I find that there is some connection between these two sociological phenomena. Religion as a message of hope, religion as a path for mental comfort should be there. All of us should have the option, should have the alternative to go to religion whenever we feel depressed, desolate, forsaken in life. I think to snatch away this opportunity from a human being is a huge crime. No matter in the name of whatever ideology we do that. And that is when I suddenly realized that Swami Vivekananda, Swamiji, he gave us a wonderful idea which is yet to be completely explored in his paper on Hinduism. Before that, I will just give you a parallel thought. When we talk about knowledge, if you see what has happened in the last 20 years across the world, earlier knowledge, you need to know something. Suppose you wanted to learn, say, calculus. You had to go to a particular institution, a college or a university. You had to talk to a professor or a lecturer or a teacher and then get the knowledge of calculus. It was dependent on time. It was dependent on a particular location. You had to actually go to a library and take the book out of the shelf and read it. Now, what do? If you want to know anything about anything, you have only one mantra, Googlaya Namaha. Though you may find this very humorous, but please think about it seriously. Knowledge has become so accessible. It's available to everyone. It doesn't matter whether your father is a billionaire or a millionaire. It doesn't matter whether you have access to the greatest institutions. Some of the greatest institutions on this earth have opened up their doors in the form of open courseware, MIT for instance. So knowledge has suddenly become open to everyone. A person who is, I live in Uttarakhand, a person who is in Uttarakhand in the border of China, in a very remote village, has access to the same information and knowledge which a person who is living in the capital of this country, Delhi, has. And that is a tremendous thing. And this we achieve by a technology which is called as cloud computing, where location in space, your location and your time does not matter. You can have a file, work on the file, save it in your cloud drive, and you can go anywhere on earth and open it and edit it. And any other person who is living some other part of this world can also simultaneously open that same file and edit it. It's called cloud computing, which is used by all of you. You might realize it or you might not. Swami Vivekananda, when he was talking about paper on Hinduism, towards the end of that paper, he says, I quote, "If there is ever to be a universal religion, it must be one which will have no location in place or time, which will be infinite like the God it will preach, and whose sun will shine upon the followers of Krishna and of Christ, on saints and sinners alike, which will not be Brahminic or Buddhistic, Christian or Mohammedan." So here says it will not be Brahminic, means he is not just referring to Hinduism. It will not be Brahminic or Buddhistic, Christian or Mohammedan, but the sum total of all these, and still have infinite space for development, which in its Catholicity will embrace in its infinite arms and find a place for every human being, from the lowest groveling savage, not far removed from the brute, to the highest man, towering by the virtues of his head and heart, almost above humanity, making society stand in awe of him and doubt his human nature. So Swamiji says, universal religion will be a religion which will accept all the principles of all religions which have been ever thought of by the human mind till now, and will also have space for future religious ideas. Does that mean that people who claim to be terrorists, people who do such activities, does that mean that even that would be religion? So Swamiji says that religion will be something where to qualify as religion, a belief system, a faith system should have the idea that every human being, every living being is divine. So the first idea a religious system should have is that every living being, irrespective of where that person is, to which lineage that person belongs to, is divine. Everyone is divine. And the second thing is that it is possible for everyone to attain the final goal of life, to be free from suffering, that is to attain what is in many religions called as salvation, moksha, mukti, etc. So, not only that a religious system will believe that every person is divine, it will also show way, it will also create a path to attain the knowledge of this divinity. Any religion or any belief system which has these two aspects, which believes that every living being is divine, and also which shows a path, has a systematic path for attaining the knowledge of this divinity of all living beings, that can be called a religion. And according to Swami Vivekananda, a universal religion is that where all religious ideas will be accepted, and you will have a scope and space for including future ideas also. Incidentally, Swamiji, when he started the Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, in his rules, he says that I am now giving 4 paths of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga and Karma Yoga. But if in the future this organization, the monks of this organization, if they think that there can be some other path also, then even that path can be included. That was the Catholicity, broadness, universality of Swami Vivekananda. And in that same spirit he says, of course this happened much before he made the rules of Belur Mutt, but the same Swamiji says here that a religion which is universal will have infinite space for development. And that, I think, is much like cloud computing. And so we can call this the cloud religion of Swami Vivekananda. Those of you who are aware of software, there are places like GitHub where one can put the software there, open source, and anyone can come and take down the software, download the software, and improve upon it. So, religion would be like that. And what would it do? What is the good such a religion will bring? What is the benefit of having such a religion? Just like knowledge has become accessible to everyone, if we have such a religion, everyone can have access to religious ideas. Everyone can have access to religious principles. Everyone can practice religious wisdom. We don't need to go to any institution. We don't need to go to any priest or any guardian of, so-called guardian of religious wisdom. It's all available for us. All we need to do is to practice that wisdom in our life. And we also need to not criticize or not look down upon other religious systems or beliefs with which I might not agree. So, in Swamiji's cloud religion, we have a religion which is not static. We have a religion which is not finished yet. This religion will remain as long as humanity remains. This religion will remain as long as the human mind can think of such lofty ideas. What do we do in religion? We don't accept what we see as the final conclusion. We see suffering, but we don't accept suffering as the finality of life. We say suffering is there, but there is a way out of suffering. There is so much of pain, but there is a way out of pain. There is hatred, but there is a way out of hatred. Religion does that to us. And so if we were to follow, unfortunately, as some of my previous speakers had told you, we have not listened to Swami Vivekananda. We have not followed what Swamiji said. Swamiji is not saying that you follow a particular religion. Swamiji is saying that you follow the spirit of religion. You be religious, but be religious so that you will be able to realize divinity of yourselves and also the divinity of all living beings and eventually the divinity of this whole universe. How can we do that? Here Swamiji is giving so many ideas. He is saying that the sun will shine, the sun of that religion, universal religion, will shine upon the followers of Krishna and of Christ, on saints and sinners alike. Swamiji told this message, gave this message of divinity when he was in the West many times. And there, again and again, he used to repeat this idea that why should we call ourselves sinners? And though in Sanatana Dharma, though we find this idea in the Puranas, but in Sanatana Dharma, the concept of sin is not emphasized much. But unfortunately, in practical religious life, we see, whenever you talk to someone, the first question or the first thing a person has to say is पाप पुण्य. ये करने से मुझे पाप लगेगा क्या? और ये करने से मुझे पुण्य मिलेगा क्या? And that is the question, that is the trap which Swamiji wants us to be free from. What is necessary is to look upon a human being as a divine being, not look upon a human being as a person who is a sinner, a person who has committed a mistake, or a person who is a saint, a person who is very virtuous. According to the universal religion, it does not matter which prophet you follow. You might follow Krishna, you might follow Christ. And according to the universal religion, it does not matter where you live, to which social strata you belong to, whether you have money or whether you have political power or the power of intellect. It does not matter whether you are a fool or you are an intelligent person. All it matters is that you have the belief that every person is divine. So this cloud religion is very important for us to understand and to follow in our lives, because it reflects the spirit of the Vedic civilization, where a person goes to the guru, Satyakama Jabala. He goes to his guru, goes to a teacher and asks him to teach him the Vedas. And the teacher says, I don't know who your father is, so please tell me your lineage. And this person himself does not know that. And so he goes to his mother and says that I want to learn the Vedas, so please tell me who my father is. And his mother says that I also don't know who your father is. He goes back to the teacher and tells this. And the teacher says the person who can accept a damaging truth about oneself like this is an honest person, and so virtually is a Brahmana. So I will teach you. And the name Satyakama Jabala, Jabala is the name of his mother. Nowadays in modern India and elsewhere, we make a big fuss of how we are including the surname of mother. But friends, it was there in Vedic civilization thousands and thousands of years ago. So this idea of accepting a religious thought. This idea of accepting the innate divinity of every living being is the core thought of religion. And I think this, which I call cloud religion of Swamiji, we should accept and follow in our lives. And that would bring a lot of relief from this tension which we seem to have whenever we talk about religion. Thank you.